everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is Spiritual Conversations, and today I have a special guest, Toni from Shining Hawk Healing. She has her own channel here on YouTube that you can definitely go check out, and I'll put all that information down below in the comments. So, welcome, Toni. And what I do is I contact them, and I email them. I'm like, I would love to invite you on, but they get to choose the topics because they're my special guest and we get to have a spiritual conversation. So I'm actually going to turn it over to you. Give us a little synopsis of what's on your channel, how to get a hold of you if you do readings or not, or however, and then definitely we'll give it a moment and we'll go into some of the subjects that you have chosen. So go for it, hon.
Okay, well, I'm Toni. My channel is Shining Hawk Healing. It's a healing subject channel. So I do a lot of spiritual work, prayer stuff. I let people see my dogs. It's a little hodgepodge of stuff, but it's all about healing and spirituality and soul work. I am a shaman. I kind of hate to say that I practice shaman ways because I am more than just that. I am a Reiki master, and I also do I make things. I make wands, and you have one of my wands.
Hang on just one second.
Yes, there it is.
There it is. That is the one that you sent me. You told me it was like a talking stick. Is that correct?
Yes, it can be, because the wands are sort of the miniature version of the staff. You know, the staff of the shaman or the wise person, the medicine man. So this is the sort of a broken down version of that, which also helps with focus. If you have your wand and you want to use it as a talking stick for the group, if you're in a circle, then you can use it as your talking stick. And the person who has the stick is the person who is speaking or praying or singing or whatever it is that you're offering into the circle of spirit.
I have a question. I do remote viewing. Do you think it's appropriate or inappropriate for me to hold this as I'm doing remote viewings?
Whatever energy you want to put into it, it will reflect.
It will go. So if I wanted to contact, I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to ever like poison it.
No.
Also, I don't know if you do these? Do you sell these?
I do. Those are my cards. This is my deck of cards. This is a shamanic energy deck, and it has cards about shamanic practices, like vision quests and things like that, and walking in beauty, which is what I say all the time because I love beauty. I love like beautiful things. I love flowers. I love nature. I love to find the beauty in everything that I do. I try to find something beautiful in every person that I see, even if they're not really, that great person.
Unfortunately, what I always say this is, I may be a quality friend, but I may not find quality friends. You know what I mean? But we have to work through that. Of course, we have to work all through that. So
very often.
So I am so grateful that you are here. Truly grateful. I know that these conversations I think are needed, are important, and the moment I have to tell a little story before we kind of get into this. I was doing what we called what do we call the view or the remote view or something like that, a little show, right? And I was scrolling through YouTube looking for fresh blood and to come onto my show, right? And I scrolled and I stopped at her channel because she had this native table that she had, which is on her cards. It's the
medicine wheel.
Yeah, the medicine wheel that was on her cards. And what she was doing with that and doing and like going around and putting cards on there and that, I'm like, And I loved it and I felt it, and it was just so impactful to me. You were the one that I was so excited to have on my show because of the medicine wheel and how different it was. And I was so happy when I emailed you, like, sure. I'm like, she said yes, So
I
I just
was just
wanted
sitting
to,
there. I wasn't doing anything.
well, it's those that moment, that always that one moment where you put yourself out there and ask and see if they'll come onto your show. And
Yes,
then you wait for the rejection or the yes. Like,
I
no,
know.
Sheila, I know who you are and I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Or, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've had those. I've had those as people are like, you know what, I don't do collaborations, or, I just, that's not what I do. And I don't, but that's okay. That's
Yeah,
cool.
of course.
Cool,
Yeah, it's
cool.
okay. But I've had a straight up, I don't think so. I'm like, all righty then. Well, that's a day of working through my emotions.
Okay. Maybe I have some inner work to do right
Yeah,
now.
like, whoa, all right, let's work through that one. Exactly. Didn't know that was going to happen today, but all right. All right.
It's
Yeah,
it's always a crapshoot. It's always a crapshoot. You never know. And then there's so many people like I just met this woman. Her name is Jennifer Solar Pena, and she's going to come on my channel. I'm so excited. But she's a channel, and I came across her. She has 3 videos.
yeah, yeah,
But I just immediately connected with her, and I was like, she probably doesn't want to go on my show, but she said yes. I was so surprised and so like yes, yay. So
yeah, yeah. Sometimes people forget that we're just regular people.
mhm.
We have that those little tiny little insecurities just as much as everybody else does. We just know that it's worth it when we do put ourselves out there, and the gain is so beautiful when we do it. So
Yeah.
we kind of know that.
And it sort of plays into what I wanted to talk about today, which is fear, because those are little fears that, we have to sort of, this bump in the road that we have to get over. We have to
Exactly.
traverse it, somehow go around it, and just do it anyway. Be
Exactly.
afraid and do it anyway.
So before we do that, and I do want to get into your stories and your our spiritual conversation, I do want to read what the dictionary says about fear, right? What is the literal definition as we in our language say? And it says fear, where it says, and there it says, an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief, and that is an important thought right there, by the belief that someone or something is dangerous,
Mm,
likely to cause pain or a threat. And it says, be afraid of someone or something as likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening. Farmers fear that they will lose business, type
mm.
of fear. So I just kind of wanted to get a basis of kind of what we're talking about when we talk about fear.
Yes.
And yeah, so
And I
go
have this
for it.
card here. Fear is the false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
That's really just it. It's an illusion. Fear is an illusion because, but fear is a part of, I think it came through our instinct of survival, right? If we didn't get that, that little tingle, or that, oh, you better run because there's a dinosaur behind you kind of thing. If we
Right.
didn't get that, then, we'd, it, I don't think humans would have survived for very long on the planet. But, because we don't have those huge things that are threatening us now, it's the little things that build up, one on one on one on one. Over the years, we gather our fears, we carry them on our backs. And then, when something comes up, it validates that fear. And then you go, okay, see, I knew to be afraid of that. Right. So that's how I see it.
That is absolutely true. If you're walking around with tons of fears, those fears need to be fed. They are
Yes.
hungry little beasts. And so we're going to literally go look for our food, which is validation of a danger.
Hmm.
And it goes for the opposite too. Positive thoughts and all that are also very hungry little beasts. And
Hmm.
they also go look for food, and we also get validation for that. So I agree with you that we walk around in so much fear. Now, I think to distinguish between an intuition fear, because
Hmm.
we have to
Hmm.
have that in order to survive, like we
Hmm.
did millions of years ago, or maybe thousands. Anyways, I don't know if we're back there, but with that little fear is what you're talking about, that little intuition. You're sitting there, and all of a sudden you're panicking, and you know why? Because mom's gonna eat you. You gotta
Right.
go. But the fears that we have today, I think, are immobilizing, or what do you call them? They're paralyzing. They're
Yes.
paralyzing fear. So,
Hmm.
is there like something in your own life that you had as an example that you paralyzed you to the point where then you had to shift? And then how did the shift come around?
Yes. Well, as I said, I practice shaman ways. And when I first started, my first ceremony was literally called Night on the Mountain of Fear. So
How
I
exciting. Of
I signed up for it.
course we did. Of course we did.
I was like, okay, where do I sign? I want that. I I had no idea. I'm a city girl. When I first moved to California, that's when I started, really in earnest doing my spiritual work and learning and studying and searching. So the first sweat lodge that I ever joined, um, I became a student of shaman ways through
So,
there.
for
And
somebody that doesn't know what sweat lodge is, can you give a little bit of a background in your beliefs and kind of like your
okay.
ceremonies?
So one of the ceremonies that a lot of people go to, you don't have to be shaman. You can just be, somebody who is spiritual and sort of interested in indigenous culture, medicine, and that kind of thing. Um, my father was Choctaw Indian, and but you don't get the lineage from your dad. You only get the lineage from your mother. So I don't claim to be, in any indigenous cultures, but I do know where I came from.
Right.
So it was a calling that was something that could not be denied at, you know, when I started to encounter all of these things. So I came to California and started to go to a sweat lodge. A sweat lodge is a little it's
TP.
like a cave-like structure that you and is covered with leather and different kinds of things to excuse me, keep the light out and keep the smoke in and keep the heat in. So it's like an
Usually, yeah. So usually
basically.
back in the day, it was like blankets that the
Yeah,
women
blankets
that they had made and stuff like that, buck
and
skins
pelts
that
and
they
stuff
had,
like
or
that. Yeah.
and things like that. So yeah.
So yeah, so they would cover that, and then there's a fire keeper who tends the rocks that we put into the pit that goes into the lodge.
And they call
There,
them the grandfathers because they
the
have the wisdom of the
grandfathers,
grandfathers, right?
and then there are different kinds of lodges. Some lodges have the pit in the center, and some lodges have it, in another space. And our lodge was a children's fire lodge, so we kept, we honored our children. We honored the children of the planet. It's always about the children first. Take care of the children first. That was our motto. That was our thing. So after my first couple of sweats, I became a student, and my first ceremony was called Night on the Mountain of Fear. And I drove to the desert all by myself. I don't know what was wrong with me. I was like, I'm doing it, I'm doing it, I'm doing it, and scared the whole way, and had never been to the desert before. But I knew that there were things out there that could hurt me. Snakes and coyote and scorpions and spiders and all kinds of things, but I still went. I was like, what, are you crazy? I'm driving, I'm like, you're crazy, you're crazy. What are you doing? I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm doing this. So I got there and we set up our tents, and then we got in a circle. We started learning about how to make medicine bags, and how to make the herbs, put the herbs together for our circles that we had to use during the night on our mountain of fear. I say that, but there were other people in the group who were doing other ceremonies. There was a woman next to me who had to die. So I was like, well, I could face fear. I don't have to die. And when I say die, it means die to your old self and be reborn and be transformed and transmuted.
Not literal.
Not literal death.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, she has to die. So I think
You're
I'm
not going out to the desert and sacrificing people. This is not what we're talking about.
So we had fasted for, I think, 2 days. So I was hungry. I was like nervous. And I was like, it was my first time in the desert. So they were very good about taking care of us. The people who were in charge, they were very good about it. And so they sent us out to pick our power spots. And you know what a power spot is, right? It's where you feel the most energy that's speaking to you. So you go and you just sort of walk around and are attracted to this, whatever spot you are attracted to. Mine was on a rock. I love rocks. I'm a rock person. I'm a crystal person. I'm a rock person. So I found this big rock, and then it had a boulder right behind it. So being from the city, you want to check your back all the time, make sure your back is covered. Right? So I'm like, this is my spot.
I need one place that I can be safe.
I know. I have. I can see everything that's coming at me right now. So we were sent out to choose our power spot, and then we came back, and we were briefed on how to close our circles and how to and warned never to leave the circle.
Yeah.
And that's and I didn't know if I could handle that. I was willing to try. So when they sent us out, before we left, my teacher, she said, give me something of yours so that I can hear you if you need me. Just call me, use this. And she handed me a little, like a turtle, a little jade turtle. And so, which is going to be important later on in the story. Right. So I went out and I started making my circle. It was still light outside, but just barely. It was starting to really get dark. And I was like, okay, just chill out. And I just had to breathe every like 5 minutes. I had to breathe because we had to say prayers, and there are a lot of things we had to take care of. So I took care of all that stuff. And then it was finally dark, and I just started singing because that's what I do when I'm afraid sometimes.
Right.
So I started singing loud, and we knew that there were rangers in the park who it was possible that they would come and say, you have to go back to camp because you shouldn't be out here. So singing and just looking around in the darkness, and I see these two lights sort of coming toward me. They were yellow, kind of, and I was like, oh man, the rangers found me. They're coming to get me. So these lights, they were kind of far away, but I saw them bouncing, like flashlight bouncing, how like that. they got like closer, and then one shot up into the air, turned white, and then shot across the sky. Okay. It was like,
Those were
oh
not
my
torches.
God. I'm like, I came all the way to California to be abducted by aliens.
Like, whoa. That's
So
unbelievable.
I was just like, I stopped singing because I thought this is gonna get bad. Something's gonna happen to me. I need to stop singing. So I stopped singing, but the one light that was left, it got closer and closer and closer, but it stopped at a very, like, not that far, but it was stopped, and I could just see light. That's all I could see. And then I was just worried about the one that
Left to go get its buddies to come back.
coming back for me. They're gonna bring their ship back.
Yeah, exactly. Went to go get reinforcement.
So I just, I stayed in my circle. I did not leave my circle, and I stood there and sat there, you know, all night, just watching this light, because I was just like, if I can watch you and you're not moving any closer, that's
Yeah.
fine for me. But I was like shaking with fear. And I was like, okay, this is the mountain of fear. I'm on the mountain of fear.
Right.
I'm really afraid. And then I just like had to say, there's nothing happening. Hours went by, nothing happened. And then it was like, okay, this is not going to hurt you, evidently, because if it was going to hurt you, it would have, right? So I decided to sit there, and I just got quiet. I just got quiet. And then at some point I looked up into the sky, and there were all these orbs everywhere, and it looked like the stars had come down from the sky, and they were just like right above me. Wow. And I just started crying because I could hear in my head, she's here, she's here, she's here. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I knew that these were people past or from wherever, but they knew me. I didn't know them, but they knew me. Maybe I did, but they knew me, and they were happy that I was finally where I said I was going to be. So this was like, it was like a dream. And I was holding this little turtle in my hand, and I was rubbing it, going, calling my teacher, going, I need help. I need help. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. Nothing. She gave me nothing. I didn't hear anything from her. Nobody came. So I just sat there, and I just was still and allowed it to be the way it was. And that's how I kind of tackled that fear of being where I was. When the birds started singing and the light started coming into the sky, I just started bawling like a baby. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop crying. It was one of the most profound things that has ever happened to me. And then when I got back to camp, I said, this thing doesn't work. I handed her turtle. I said, this thing doesn't work. She was like, it does. It does.
She goes, oh, wait. I didn't save you when you wanted to be saved. I'm sorry. That wasn't my job.
She's like, it does. It works. And I was, she's like, and by the way, I got your spirit name. And that was Shining Hawk.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I got my spirit name. And I sort of battled the mountain of fear.
Well, ironically, as you're telling me the story, I have one of my favorite sayings, and I'll put this up here, is sometimes the fear won't go away. So you'll have to do it afraid.
Mhm.
And this is exactly the perfect example, was you were afraid the whole time, but
Mhm.
it didn't stop you.
No.
You didn't get paralyzed. You pushed through it. It was like yeah, like one half of you afraid, the other half of you in trust. And it was it sounds like, and you can tell me I'm wrong, but it sounds like you were the trust part was more motivated in you than your fear was motivated.
Yeah, at the time I wouldn't have said that. I would have said that I was there was a fear side and a crazy side. At the
Right.
time, I was like, okay, half of me is very fearful, but the other half is absolutely out of her mind.
Right, right. Well, the
Um,
fear part we're used to. Trust part we're not used to. That's the reason why we call it crazy.
yeah,
Because that was not something that we would, we were taught to pay attention to. But
yeah.
we
And
weren't taught to pay attention to fear.
right. And the thing about my spirit name, Shining Hawk, is that before I moved to California, I was in Manhattan. I was in New York. And I had started seeing the phoenix bird everywhere. The
Mm,
word, I would see the word, I would see the picture. The picture would just like come up on my computer at some point. I would see it.
nice.
I would like, and I was like, what is happening? Why am I seeing this bird? And I'm like, it was, and someone was like, that's the phoenix. Um, don't know why you're seeing it.
Right.
And then I got to California and I went to this place called the Lake Shrine. And in their little shop they have there, there's a huge statue of the phoenix.
Wow.
I was like, what is it? And then I did the ceremony and she gave me my spirit name. And that's me,
Yeah.
the fiery bird, the shining hawk.
The shining heart, yeah. And for those who don't know, that the phoenix, the folklore behind that is that it burns itself all the way down. It dies completely to ashes, and from the
Mhm.
ashes is birthed a baby bird that grows up again to be an adult, right? And
Who
then
then
the
does the same
cycle,
thing.
the cycle comes around again, right?
Yes.
If anybody's ever saw Harry Potter, there's a
Mm.
phoenix in Harry Potter scenes that kind of shows that depiction, which I thought was beautifully done.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Shining Hawk. So here's my question before we kind of move on to your next subject. Uh, Spiritually, what did walking through that? What was the rearrangement inside? Maybe something you that we haven't you didn't acknowledge. There's sometimes in my life I'll say to the universe, what tool do I need to get through this situation? And it could be acceptance, it could be logic, it could be shut your mouth, it could be, you know what I mean? Which tool do I need in order to get through this tough situation? And that's kind of the theory that as what I
Yeah.
was kind of thinking, that maybe you can give us a little spirituality of that.
I, you know, it, my childhood was like very tumultuous, right? So all of our childhoods are, right? It's just, it's the way it is. But I was so fearful my whole childhood about being safe.
Yeah.
It's, because there were so many instances where I felt unsafe, right? So I grew up with that fear of, I always protecting my back, always looking for, and my six, I got my six,
Yeah.
and I'm always scanning, and that's how I guess that empathic thing that we have when I walk into a room, I can automatically feel what people are going through and feeling, and I always go like scan the room because it's just second nature for me to do that so that I can stay safe. But in that, I'm tuning into everybody's energy so that I can pick out which ones are going to be the trouble.
That's
right?
called a trauma response from children who have had a trauma childhood. Is we walk into a room and we will always pick the crazy, and because that's the biggest threat. We will know where the crazy one is. We will know the one who is either a narcissist or violent, whatever. We will always know where that one's at, and we will maneuver our whole evening around making sure that person stays right over there, because that's what we do. We assess our trauma in that sort of way. There's a lot of people I would tell that guy over there is really violent, and they're like, no, he's not. I'm like, yeah, he is. And then 3 weeks later, oh, I told you. You know what I mean? I told you what he was. But they didn't have that trauma within, like, I think you were talking about as a child, that trauma within, where we had to assess our situation at all times. There was no no calmness or no time that we did not have to do that.
And there was no one, maybe a few people in your life who would come and go, who would be, that person who you feel like, oh, I'm safe with that person.
Yeah, never. I've never.
But it would always go away. Be very short lived, and then you're back into, oh my God, I've got to be safe here. So those kinds of things that happen to you in your childhood are things that make you stronger.
Yes.
They make you, they create the life that you walk into, right? All of these things that have happened to you, your past, goes into that. And when you do shaman ways, you're able to walk into those shadow moments and shine light on them and try to integrate those areas. So I think when I was on that rock and, feeling like, okay, I got the protection behind me, but that went all the way out the window when I thought it was aliens. I thought,
yeah, that rock is not going to save you. Nope, there's not a boulder around that's going to take care of that.
I'm like, I don't think that I have a choice here.
Right. Well, I found it interesting that the light is what scared you. Does that make sense? Say that out loud, right? It was the light that scared you. And here we are talking about the same thing, the fear. It's the light that kind of scares us a little, because once we go into the light and be exposed, light workers and empaths are always 1 to 2 degrees removed from exposure. Not that I don't want you to know who I am. I don't care. It is exposure to anything dangerous. Right? We're removed. We're not going to go into a crowd very easily, because I can't assess 50,000 people and find out which ones are my danger zone, right?
I know. That's why I can't. It's so stressful to go to a stadium, to go to a game. I mean, and I've gone to Dodger games where it's like, it's fine if I'm in my seat, but as soon as the game is over and everybody's filing out, it's just like, that's
painful.
It's my head hurts, everything hurts. Until I get out of that situation, I'm like this. I'm vibrating, kind of.
Have you ever done this, going to like a big thing? I either show up an hour or two early to get in there where there's no crowd, and then I will convince whoever I'm with to leave early to beat the crowd.
Yes.
They're thinking that I'm trying to, but the really is I'm assessing danger.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't that weird how what we have done? Or even going to a restaurant, I will go out of the boundaries of dinner time. So that restaurant.
Are you a 4 o'clock dinner person?
I am. And by the time I leave, the line's really long, and I sit there and think, wow, I'm so glad I got here early. It's time to go.
And it was the special.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we do in order to walk through that. And so the nice thing about that is then I see the proof of you walking through that journey yourself. I see the calmness really on you. I mean, whether you're calm inside, it doesn't matter. You're presenting calmness. You're presenting depth. You're presenting the lessons and the how can I put this? I'm trying to find the best words for this. I can see your heart. I can see your spirit even through this. I see it. And I think that's what attracted to me the most, was I could see that part in you. So it works when you walk through your fears and get through and go over to the other side. And then there'll be another fear that you have to do. And then there'll be another fear that you have to do. You just keep on walking through it. I just, like I always, when I figured out that I could just walk through my fears, I always vision myself, those double doors. I'm going to just go, jaw. I'm here. And let's get through this fear. I am over it. You know what I mean?
Don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, like I am done with this one. You're not working for me no more. Let's figure out where you're coming from, why you're here, and let's get through this journey, And that's kind of how it's like, why wouldn't I? Why would not want to walk through any of those fears? I know what comes on the other side of it anymore. I know the gift.
Yes. And there are things that you can do, like, writing the fear down and putting it in a fire, burning in the fire. And as you're doing that, visualize it transforming into a bird, an eagle, or, something that has insight and fearlessness.
Yeah.
Something that's not afraid, envision that in the smoke as it's rising out of the fire. Or you can go to the ocean, write something on a piece of paper, or, on a flower, which is what we do, is we take flowers, we can write something on a flower, and then we string them together, and then we set them off into the ocean.
Beautiful.
So that kind of thing. Yeah. Those are some things that you can do that are really beautiful and meaningful, and really sort of touch your heart and open your heart, which is what we all want to do. Well, not everybody wants to, but the opening of your heart, really, it's scary. It's fear, it's fear-based, because we are afraid to open up to people because we don't want to get hurt. But but there are those kinds of things are very beautiful and very meaningful to do, that symbolize you letting go of that fear. Now, there's always another fear waiting in line back here.
There's a lot to get through.
It's like ding.
And use all of the elements. You can use all of the elements to deal with any of your fears.
And you can
wind blow it, or
you
fire, or you can even bury it and let the dirt decompose it, as long as it's something don't put some plastic in the dirt.
No, if you want to write it on a stick or something, just put it that, and then you can bury. But if you pick up a stick near a tree, you should always ask permission.
Yes, we do.
Always ask permission before you cut anything from a tree.
True.
Because that's a living thing.
Respectful.
Permission. Yeah. They may give you permission, but you always should ask. It's always polite to ask. So the fears are, like I said, there's always another fear in the background somewhere, because it's an ongoing thing. Every new thing presents a new challenge and a new opportunity to have fear.
So, what is a perfect segue to the next one, right? The perfect segue to the next one, and it's called forgiveness. You have chosen forgiveness. And I'm going to go ahead and read from the dictionary what forgiveness says in the dictionary as a focusing point. And it says the action or the process for forgiving or being forgiven. She is quick to ask forgiveness when she has overstepped the line. So this is one that you have also chosen, and I'm pretty sure you probably have a story of how you walk through the forgiveness. And I know behind the scenes we were kind of talking about forgiveness, and how I perceive it a little is in self-healing, taking back my power if somebody has violated who and what I am. But I also want forgiveness. if I have done something that was unpleasant to you, or even we were talking about grace, in which I know you're going to talk about the grace of that. I need people that know that I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes, and that if you are willing to walk this path with me in friendship or whatever, I need to know that you're going to walk with me through even my mistakes and get to the other side. I always open up the pathway. I'm always willing to heal and to make our relationship the best as possible as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to have people around me that are willing to do that. And if we don't have people that are willing to do that, maybe they just don't know. But anyways, this is yours. So definitely give us a little bit. Give us.
Oh, wow. The forgiveness thing is it's so tricky, because I always say that forgiveness is not really for the other person. It's for me. And it may sound selfish, but if when you forgive someone, it allows them to, it's telling them and their soul that you honor who they are, even if they're horrible people. Right. So if
That.
you're a horrible person and I say, I to not to you, but to myself, that I forgive you for whatever you did to make me feel the way I feel, then that doesn't have anything really to do with them. It's me letting go of that darkness and that negativity and that muck and mud that can get accumulated in your heart space, because you people have made you feel a certain way. So when I forgive you, I am actually forgiving myself. And that clears out my heart space. That clears out the muck and the mud and the negativity and all of that. And it doesn't happen overnight, because when people hurt you, I mean, it really does hit you hard, right? Yeah. I will give you all of the respect and honor and allowing that I can possibly give, but I'm not responsible for how you react or your reaction to it or how you take it. It's just, there it is. That as light workers, we, and as healers and as readers and channelers and whatever your thing is, we are all on the same side.
Right. Exactly. We're fighting for the same thing you're fighting for. Yeah.
It's like,
yes.
What?
I know. Somebody had told me one thing about forgiveness in my world was that, Sheila, you are to create the best relationships possible with those around you. And I thought, that's a tall order for this Gemini, you know what I mean? But what she was saying was this, if there was somebody who is treating you bad, the best relationship is for them to stay over there, but your responsibility is not to hang on to the resentment.
Right.
Your responsibility is to allow yourself to have that whole platform. I will send you love and kindness. I will not throw darts at you anymore, but you cannot and shall not come back in and abuse me. I'm not that way. I'm not that person for you. Right?
Yes. And as a Taurus, that's how I am. Right. And my husband used to say, before I became enlightened,
yeah. Right.
My husband used to say, you kill people off so easily.
Yeah, we got that bat, like, bam. But you see, the thing about that whole situation when we do that is, if that person finally sees the light, has a moment or whatever, and wants to come back and repair that relationship with me, I'm open to it. That's the work that we do on the inside. I do not close you off. It's hard.
It's hard.
It is hard. This is not easy. Hard. Absolutely.
Because then it comes into a question of trust.
Yes.
Because then there's always something in the back of your mind is like, when's this person going to turn on me again? That kind of thing. It's like, oh, do you want that in your consciousness? And
well, that's where you have that opportunity to discuss that with that relationship.
Mhm.
I will not tolerate such and such, such and such, such and such, and such and such. If you are willing to create a relationship of any sort with me without those things, then I'll be more than happy to continue. But once those crop up again, you see, we will have to separate. Are you okay with those terms? You know what I'm saying? I have gotten to the point where if I'm willing to have a hard conversation, I'm willing to also lay out, I'm not, here to change you, but I will not allow you to do anything to me that I wouldn't do it to somebody else, or,
Yeah.
whatever. The little doggy here is whining. So, that's kind of how I think that is like I'm healing what's going on inside of you. But if there was ever a chance that you have changed, because everybody has the opportunity to change and
Yes,
grow, if that has
absolutely.
happened and you would like to come back and repair that relationship with me, I'm open to it. However,
Mhm.
there's some definite, we're raising the bar. We're not down here no more. We're raising that bar, and you will not allowed to, call me names or be mean, or and
Mhm.
things like that. There's things, if
Mhm.
you can accommodate, if you can agree to those terms, then let's go forward in a higher vibration relationship. But if you cannot,
Yeah,
you know,
what's really sort of like puzzling to me is um especially people who are, really like, into mediumship and us light
yes,
workers, people who
not
are
all of
light
us are
workers,
well.
not all of us. It's just it's you have guides, right?
Yeah,
You utilize your guides on a daily basis, right? They're there for you to whisper in your ear when something is not right, or something is right, or you're on the right path, or they lay out clues for you and
yeah,
things like that. um so when you say to someone, check with your guides,
yeah, yeah.
ask
Check with your
them,
heart. Check with your
check
guides. Yeah.
check with your guides. If your heart is not giving you the answer, if
Hmm.
your gut is not giving you the answer, you have you have the ability to check with your guides and
Absolutely.
have them tell you what's true.
Yes.
You can make that, you can look at your cards, you can with whatever tool you use, pendulum, whatever it is, use it,
Yep.
and then then come back to tell me what you think
Right.
about the situation, right? Because my heart is open, and I'm an
Correct. I'm here for light, love, and all of that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is like I know, being a newcomer, mistakes, I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
right.
But that I totally get that whole opportunity to just um how can I put this? I want the best possible relationship with you, right? I want the best possible relationship with you. And as we were talking about, not all of us in this in our arena as well. You
Mm,
can always tell the ones, and this is not a slight, and this is not talking about nobody. That I don't have nobody in mind.
right.
But you can always tell the ones that have not done the work, and some the ones
Mm,
that have done the work, right? Everybody has the ability to be, read cards and do this and stuff like that. But when the internal work has not been done, it pops up, right?
yeah,
You can see it.
totally. Right.
You can see it.
Right.
And then they struggle in their own craft. Unfortunately, they struggle in their own craft. And we know that the work that like being up on the hill, you have honed in on your craft and you've gotten it to the highest vibrational possible that you can do today, is because of that day, right? And many more, I'm sure. But
Yes.
that one moment where you realize the benefit of inner work,
Hmm.
that is priceless knowledge. When inner work is the way to go, the way to be, the way we get there, with the higher, the vibration that we can do and achieve within a lifetime.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it is something we can't force somebody else to see, but we also notice
No.
when they haven't done the work. And you know, the ones that haven't, it's not like they haven't because they've chosen they haven't. They just don't know there's a better way.
Yeah. And it, it's like because I practice I do shaman practices. It's all about going inside and looking honestly, because I'm not an angel, or maybe I could be, not angels. I don't
I'm
know why I'm here, it's like it's like
I'm an angel compared to what I was when I was 20, all right? How's that? My
I
20s?
mean,
Thank
it's
God I
never
didn't have the internet. Okay, go ahead. Nothing. You can't
totally,
prove nothing.
it's just like, you go in and I'm this person who I want to love everybody. I want to love you. I just let me love you. For God's sake, just let me love you. I just want everybody to feel that emotion and feel your heart space. And
Yeah.
I'm always looking for ways to convey that to people. I go the extra mile. I will go
Right.
the extra mile to make you feel comfortable or make you feel loved, because I know what it's like not to have that feeling.
Right.
So I want everyone to feel loved, and
Right.
I want everyone to feel beautiful.
Or
And
that love is there for them to accept.
yes. And so when I bump up against another person, a being who doesn't see
Resistance.
that, in me, I automatically go, well, what am I doing to make that happen?
Mm,
What have I done to convey a different story to this person?
right.
Because that's not who I am.
Right.
Right. And to know who you are is so important, especially in this work,
Yes.
because um because you know you can easily get tossed up, against the bricks, tossed against
True.
the what do you call it, the banks of the river, when you're trying to go with the flow, right? And it's just like, whoa, where did that come from? I hit that rock. Oh my God, this branch just came and tried to take my head off. What is happening, right?
I think Abraham Hicks has a perfect explanation. That's called resistance. When we're going with the flow or knocking ourselves into boulders. It's called resistance. And you felt the resistance, either the resistance in that person or the resistance in you.
In
Whichever
me, yeah.
happened, the resistance was there. However, um, when we check our own intentions, and I've done this many a times, my intentions were pure. I cannot control somebody else how they took it.
Yeah,
I just can't. I
exactly.
cannot make you understand unless you know who I am from the. It's like somebody would make a mistake. Somebody will say something crazy. I'm like, if I didn't know who you were, I would have taken that personal. You know what I mean? But I know who you are. I know your heart.
Exactly, right? And
Yeah.
people, sometimes you say the wrong thing. You
Yeah.
don't mean to hurt someone, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you just said something that triggered them from their
Yeah.
childhood, right? And
Yeah.
it was something simple, but it triggered, right?
Right.
And you thought it was like, maybe I thought it was fine. I was just expressing myself in a way that I expressed myself, and something that I said triggered you.
Right.
So I apologize for that. And that's not who I am. I
Mhm.
don't really, I would never want to hurt anybody. So, but the forgiveness comes in is when you forgive yourself.
Right.
Then you can open up that heart space and allow yourself to forgive others. And when that happens, it's things start to move.
Mhm.
You're back in the river again. You're with the going in the flow, right?
We're
Because
on
you're
our inner
going down
tube
there.
having fun.
I'd rather be in the inner tube, right? Having fun, just slipping up and down the,
Yeah.
the river
Yeah.
instead of bumping into those rocks and those boulders and those trees and all that stuff. It's just like, it hurts.
Yeah. It does. I'm like, I just got rid of the last bruise. Do I need another one?
I got so many bruises from, from the past.
Exactly.
Do not need anymore. No
Yeah.
more, no more.
That's
But
why we were talking about that before. I'm like, hey, forgiveness. Bam. What do we need to? Let's get to it.
come on, let's fight this out. If we gotta wrestle, let's wrestle.
Wrestle. Yeah. Like, what is it that we need to do to get to the other side? Can we get back to the fun?
Can we go? Can we get back to the fun? Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the fun. And the fun of it is that once you understand that it's, there's a lot of fear behind behind not forgiving as well. Like I said before, right? So you forgive this person and you invite them back into your life. But in the back of your mind, you're like, when's the other shoe going to drop?
Yeah.
So that's sort of where you have to allow yourself to have those feelings, but not act on them.
Right.
And just keep working on it, because that's a shadow. That's the shadow of that previous thing that happened, right? That leaves a shadow. So that darkness, you can't get rid of it right away, but you have to address it, and you have to keep working on it bit by bit, piece by piece, putting shining light on it. And that's when I put people in my circle of healing.
Mm-hmm.
People who I love, but who have chosen not to reciprocate.
Right. Yeah, we can't control that. Somebody used to tell me, says, Sheila, you trust no one. And I was like, what? She goes, no, you trust one. And I thought, this is weird. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, if you have your reliance on spirit, universe, right? Universe and spirit is going to guide you with everyone else that's around you. You don't have to trust another human being to be perfect or to do whatever. You're going to trust spirit to take care of that relationship. And I was like, oh, there's another way of looking at it, right? Because I'm always trying to trust you and you and you, not you. You know what I mean?
Trust you.
Yeah. So if I put my reliance in one, I have a better basket of eggs.
Mm-hmm.
I put all of my eggs in one basket, and then the spirit takes care of all the relationships around me. And I've seen that many a times where there was a relationship that like there's nothing I could do in the whole universe. There's no way I'm getting back with that person that, it misses, things get in the way. I'm like, okay, spirit's blocking this. Really understand that, right?
Yeah.
There's a block here. There's a resistance here. There's no way that we're even on the same wavelength. There's no way of that getting back together. And boyfriends back in the day hated to hear that. Well, if the universe thinks that we should be together, we will be. And they're like, what? Yeah, I'm not going to choose this. I'll wait for spirit to put us back together if that's what happens. They don't know what to say about that.
I was like the ninja of like telling people, nope, I'm done with you. I'm walking away.
Yeah.
And and I guess that could be the reason why it's come up, right?
Yeah.
In your present life, because of the past, of how how you were in the past. Maybe there's something that's going on that's, universe or spirit is showing you how it feels.
Absolutely. And that's another spiritual conversation that we will definitely have in the future. But as of right now, we've gotten like an hour and a half in. So,
oh my God.
I know, it goes so fast. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here. Okay. Thank you very, very much. And yes, we're going to have that back on, because you've just got my head, just another spiritual conversation, another spiritual, like dark side of the soul. I mean, my list is getting long. So definitely you will be back. I have a lot of fun with you, and thank you, Toni, for always being open-hearted and
Thank
open-minded
you.
and laying it all out on the line. And it's really truly our work is to heal if they want it, to
If they want it.
understanding if they want it, clarity if they want it, right?
Mhm.
So
I just wanted to say one thing is that,
sure.
like, okay, I am like, when I say I put people in my circle of protection and I shower them with grace, that's, I do that every day
Mm.
until I feel like I'm clear
Yeah.
with it, right? And that I've cleared out that dark space. I may never ever be able to express to that person how I feel again in life because they've cut me out of it. But it, as long as it's okay in my heart and I'm clear, that's how you have to live your life, because you
Mhm.
can't take on all of that. I mean, we heal people. We have clients. I have clients that come to me for healing, and I have to be whole in order to do that. So I don't know what I'm going with. I
I
really,
completely understand
I
what
just,
you're saying is you clear your energy in order for you to move forward, if they choose to or not. But if they do connect with your energy again, they will not be hurt again.
right. No, they won't. They
They will
won't be
not
hurt
have
again.
that resistance. They will not have that muck. They will not feel anything other than love coming from you if they choose to reconnect with you.
Right.
That's
That's what I wanted to say.
yeah.
so,
I heard
so,
you.
so thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. If you have made it this far, God bless you, right?
I'm sure you're going to cut some of this out.
I am. I'm going to be doing some editing.
Thank you.
Maybe
Because I
some.
went off on
But
tangents in some places. So, but thank you so much, Sheila, for having me. And I'm grateful. Thank you.
well, you will be welcome back. We're gonna I have your cell texting is so much easier than emailing.
So
So
much.
anyways, all right, everyone. Thank you for joining me.
Bye.
Bye.